Hello everyone, welcome back. We can continue our battery manufacturing and learning series. So, till now, we covered the slurry mixing process and the battery fundamentals. Now we can move to the next step, which is the coating process. So, in this section, we can learn about the type of coating process and understand each type with their advantage and disadvantages, and also try to cover some of the important points and parameters that we need to consider during the coating of slurry. So without wasting any further moment, let's get started. So when we are doing coating of anode, we need to coat the graphite slurry over the copper foil. And when we are talking about the cathode coating, so we have to coat either LFP, LCO or NMC material or NMC slurry over the aluminum foil. So there are certain types of coating techniques. So the first one is roll to roll, which is commonly known as comma coating, where we have a supporting roller, a application roller, and a doctor plate. Another one is a slot die coating, which is an industrial coating, and currently it's a most useful technique to do coating for a large scale. And last but not the least, a spray coating, which we can see during the painting process also when we are doing paint over the cars or over the walls also. So we use this kind of process. So it's another extensive process. So let's discuss each one of them one by one. So first one is roll to roll coating process. In this process, as we seen here, we have one supporting roller, one application roller, and one metering roller. So this is a very conventional coating method, which is we seen in a small scale plant, or let's say whenever we do a pilot scale production. At that time, roll to roll coating machine is a profitable and viable solution to go with it. And as I said, it has two rollers. So the first roller is a supporting roller, another one is the application roller. So supporting roller is the one over which our substrate is rolling, and application roller is the one where our slurry is coated or slurry is transferred to the substrate through this application roller. And the work of this doctor blade is to give a proper thickness of the coating layer. So the important thing that we have to consider during this process is it requires a less cleaning or maintenance time. That's why it is viable in the uh, pilot scale production or a small scale production. The another point is the quality of coating is good, but have certain issues on the edges or sometimes on the surface itself. So I personally believe that this coating method is good for a small scale production. Why I'm saying, because in a small scale your slurry quantity is less, which is open to environment also. So for the less quantity, you don't need many adjustment, and you can properly monitor your slurry itself or, or the coating system. So in that particular case, this method is good. But if you are going for the larger production where you need a proper accuracy and you need a control system, a better control system, so in that case, your roll to roll coating machine is not uh, preferable to go with it. Still, there are certain companies which is using roll to roll coating machines with the proper automation. So they have a disadvantage which is very big enough. Uh, so the disadvantages is like the solvent or the slurry is exposed to the environment, which has a severe effect on the slurry viscosity over the period of time. So we are not suggest this method for a long duration coating. So it is for 2 or 3 hours. If you wanted to coat your slurry, you can do with this method. If you want for the larger slurry uh, a volume, for example 50 liter, 100 liter, or 1000 liter, at that particular uh, coating solution, we'll suggest you for the slot die coating. So why I'm saying that I will tell you in the next step when we are discussing about the slot die coating. So we can understand some more effects like blade is the most affected place. So in this process, actually blade is the most sophisticated portion, or let's say a sophisticated fixture or tool, which need a proper handling and care. If any dent or any mark occur on this blade, that impression is transferred to the coated electrode also, and that impression will be continued and it can't be corrected until your blade will be replaced. So this is a very critical part if we say about the rotor roll coating process, and this blade helps you to balance the thickness of the coating. So I will tell you about the thickness also, why the thickness is important and what are the parameters. So first of all, we understand the process and then we go step by step in detail as well. So I have certain photos of how it is looks like. So as we can see, this is our blade which we are talking about in the last slide, and this is the gap that we were talking about between the application roller and the blade. This gap will be maintained based on the thickness that we are looking for over the electrode or over the substrate, and these are the gauges that tells us about the yeah. So these are the gauges that tells us about the thickness, how much thickness it is. So next one is, this is a oven. This complete set, it's a small size oven around 1.5 to 2 meter length, 1.5 to 2 meter length, and it has a speed, this machine especially has a speed of 2 mm per second to 3 meter per second. But to reach this speed we need high length of oven, because we want the electrode to be dried properly before coming out of the oven. And this is a roller, let's say a collected roller, and this is a feeding roller. So here we have a aluminum foil which is uncoated, and here we can collect our coated electrode which is coming out from this oven. So let's play the video. So as we can see here, this is our coating roller, this is our blade, and this is our supporting roller which carries the foil, if you guys are seeing. So this is our foil, and that's how our coating is transferred. That's how our active material or the slurry is transferred over the foil. And these are the gauges, that's what I talked about previously. And this is the drum where we store the slurry. So I'll show you a close way how the slurry is. Now we can see the video how the coating process is working. So as you can see here, this is our supporting roller which support the aluminum foil, or let's say a substrate over which we have to coat our slurry. This is our application roller through which the slurry is transferred, and this is our blade which help us to adjust the gap or adjust the thickness of the slurry that has to be transferred over the substrate. The thickness we can see in these dial gauges. So the thickness will be in microns mostly, and it can be adjusted through these levers, which is it is a manual way. They are the automatic also when we go for a higher level system, or let's say a higher volume slurry. These system will be automatic, which can be controlled through a motors, basically the servo motors. So let's see next. Next process is the slot die coating process. In the slot die process, we have a slot and a die. So this is our slot, this is our whole die, and in this slot we push the slurry inside it so that the slurry will be transferred over the substrate. So in this die we have a gap in between. This gap will be adjusted through these bolts, and this gap will be based on our required thickness what we wanted to coat over the substrate. So this is our substrate, either aluminum foil or copper foil. This is our slurry, and this is a meniscus which is in between the die and the electrode. So let's see what are the processes. So basically this process or this coating method itself is used in a large scale production, because uh, The accuracy of this method is comparatively good as compared to roll-to-roll coating machine as well as the spray process. This method is highly efficient, we can say, but has certain points that we have to consider while choosing the coating process. So through this process, we can do one side coating as well as both side coating at the same time. And that can be done in the roll to roll coating process, but the process will be very slow in roll to roll as compared to the slot die coating. So we can do an intermittent coating in the slot die itself. The arrangement will be like we have a tank, or let's say we have a tank here. So through this tank we have a pump. This pump is connected through the tank. Then we have a slot die here. This pump pass the slurry to the slot die, and it is our substrate which is rolling. So it's like our slot die is applying slurry over the electrode, and the electrode is continuously passing through the rollers. So this is how this process is working, and this is a gap in between the slot which can be adjusted through these riveted bolts. And this coating method is highly precise, as I told you in the starting of this process. So it allows us a uniform coating. That's why it is a highly selected method in a current trend, and large scale industries are using this method to do coating. But as I told you in starting, we have certain good points as well as certain problematic system. This we consider while choosing a coating method. So this method needs a lot of time as well as the water or the solvent requirement to clean it, because it has many system. So for example, it has pipe, it has motor, it has reservoirs, it has dye. So these all system we have to clean uh, in a proper way, because if any material will be sticking or remains over the system, that will create a problem in the coating process itself over the long period of time. So we have to take a better precaution while doing a cleaning. So it requires a lot of maintenance, we can say. But this process is compared to this process is better as compared to roll to roll and the spray coating. The method is costly, obviously, because it requires a larger hardware system like motor, long range of pipe, then high pressure system, then the die. Die itself costs you much because it's a long die which has certain other parts also in it. So yeah, this method is costly, but again, we will select based on these parameters. Either we go for the cost or either we go for the quality. And if we compromise in any of the term, we can choose any method which we want. So this is our coding process. I'll show you how slot die coding process is working. So this is a YouTube video. Here we can see our bare electrode, or let's say a foil, is going to a supporting roller, and this is our slot die head which transfer the slurry over this electrode, and now coated electrode is passes through it. So here I have another video which is given by Gel Machinery. It's a Japanese company. This is also a slot die coating machine. I recommend you to search about it and try to watch it to get a better understanding about the slot die coating process. So the next process is the spray process that we can discuss. Yeah. So spray coating process, this is another method, and this we generally use for painting cars or painting houses or any wood blocks or your doors or certain other stuff. So this coating is generally used to coat a double layer system over the electrode. Once we coat the electrode through a normal coating system, and the next we can do the spray coating to stick the material better and without any uh, so spray coating is used for double layer coating as well, where you normally coat your electrode and the next coat you do through a spray gun or through a spray coating method. The beneficial of this process, or the benefit of this process, is the atoms, or the spray coating is used for double layer coating mostly in a small scale, or let's say in our R&D lines, we are using this process where we don't have much space to do coating or not proper machinery we have. So in that case, we do use the spray coating method because it requires a smaller space and we can do the coating very easily through this. So this sometimes used directly over the foil uh, to spray and make the foil conductive. Currently in the market, we have certain foils so this sometimes used directly over the aluminum foil to spray carbon over it, and this kind of foil is coming into the market nowadays, which we call as a superconductive foil, where the carbon particles are sprayed over it, which increase the conductivity of the material. So we don't need extra C65 or extra conductive carbon in the slurry itself to increase the conductivity. So we can see here this system consists of one spray gun, there is one hopper, and one air supply or sometimes inert gas also, for example argon or nitrogen, and of course we need a power system for that. So this electrode, you can see this is our foil over which we spray our powder material, let's say slurry, which is sticking over the surface. The good part of this process is the particle will settle over the surface in a very uniform manner, and there is no wear and tear over the materials, which makes this process good, and study will be very good in this process. Even though your material is calendared or you can calendar the electrode, over that also you can use this process sometimes to make a double layer system. That's what I talk about in starting. So the problem with this system is you can't control the thickness very easily, because as you can see, it depends on how fast you can move your spray gun over the surface. If you stop anywhere at some time, the thickness will be vary. So based on this thickness variation, your electrode will perform differently over the places. So loading will be vary. Of course, if the thickness is vary over the surface, the loading of the active material will be vary, and based on that, your capacity will be vary from surface to surface, from millimeter square. So it has good surface area basically. So it So the surface is very good because of there is no deformation of the particle. We can't see any deformation, any wear and tear between the particles that we see during coating because of the stress that we created during coating. But here there is no stress, there is no wear and tear between the particles. We simply allow them to settle over the substrate. Because of this, the properties are very good, the pores are very good, and the electrode itself is very good in the performance wise. So this is a process how the coating will be done over the electrode. So we see that this is given by Geosonic. So this is our head from which the slurry is coming. So you can see one is the slurry portion and one is air controller. So this is the slurry which is coming, and this is a camera. So that's how this process we need proper robotic system, because with hand the slurry the coating thickness will vary. So again, this process is little bit typical, but for the sake of material study or for the sake of R&D stuff, this is a suitable process.